Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of the Treasure Valley Business Podcast. I'm Tanner Flint, your host. I own Flint Insurance, a health insurance broker here in the Treasure Valley. And our guest today is Andrew Ryver, correct, with
Yep.
Pixel Launch.
Yep.
Dude, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How
Good.
about you?
Doing pretty good.
Good.
Hey, you and I, we just met almost just probably like a month ago or so, right?
Yep. Very short time, but we've gotten to hang out a couple different times, and
Oh, yeah.
it's been awesome getting to know you.
Oh, yeah. So tell us about yourself. What do you do?
Yeah. So I'm a graphic designer. I just started my own company earlier this year, Pixel Launch. I grew up California, so I'm a transplant here in Idaho.
So am I.
Yep. Most people are. I feel like
I'm from Colorado, not California.
yeah,
but
the C states.
exactly.
Yep. So I'm one of those people that Idahoans love to have, but I'm excited to be here. Everyone's been super nice. We moved here in 2021 and came out here to help launch a church, helped them get started, worked for them for a couple of years, and then just decided to venture out on my own and start my own company. So
there you go.
Been really excited about it.
There you go. What church did you help out with?
I helped out Refresh Church in Meridian.
Okay, I haven't heard of them.
Yep.
Where are they at?
They meet at Owyhee High School.
Oh,
so, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep, and it worked out perfectly for them because they had they were trying to find a location for the longest time and getting a bunch of no's. And the school opened up and they sent a long shot email to be like, hey, could we use your facility? And they ended up saying yes. And so they got a brand new, like state-of-the-art auditorium that they meet in with like really cush seating and great everything, brand new. So it worked out really well. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
How you liking Idaho so far?
Idaho's fantastic.
How long have you been here for?
Going on 3 years now.
Okay.
Yep. And we love it. It is. I joke with my wife that it's everything I grew up in California, like the beautiful mountains. You got just all the great places to eat, things to do. But it's like 20 minutes away, and you're just up in the woods, and very limited contact with people. So it's nice to be able to get away, and very nice people here. Just a great spot to land.
Have you gone to Bogus or you said you went to McCall before we started recording?
Yeah, we just got back from McCall yesterday, and we go there probably once a season just to get some snow, get the fall, get the spring. And my parents go up there all the time, so they usually spend a few months out of the year up in McCall, up in their fifth wheel. And it's funny they mentioned Bogus. I just went for the first time last week.
Oh, really?
With a buddy from mine and his family from Florida.
There's no snow up there right now.
No snow, but it was really cool. There's a roller coaster up there.
Yeah.
Like the Glade Runner, and mountain biking, and just a lot of fun things to do. So I never even thought twice about it until we visited.
So I love to play disc golf, and they got a disc golf course up there.
Yes.
But some of the holes, though, like you're throwing down the mountain, so it's super hard to judge because you could throw it and you just be way past the basket and everything, or if you lose it in the woods or like some weeds or brush or whatever, then I think the one time I played, I think I lost like 3 discs while I was up there, and those things are like,
it's an expensive hobby.
$10 a piece.
Yeah.
Well, it's not expensive if you don't lose them, but once you lose them, then it gets expensive.
Exactly. Where I grew up, there, I don't know if it's still ranked number 7, but it was the number 7 ranked course for froth, disc golf, in the country.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a place called Waller Park, and it had 27 holes, right? I think, or 27. What do you call those?
Just holes.
Yeah, yep. 27, and once you got to the back half, it was insane. Like
really,
I think it was like par 5. So
dang.
Really cool course. But I grew up doing that. I haven't played for a while, but I've heard there's some good courses here too.
Yeah, most popular ones around here, I would probably say, are in Caldwell. You got Mallard Park.
Yeah,
that's a super popular one. If you play all the OBs, like the out of bounds lines and things like that, that's a super tough course.
Yeah.
Or Ann Morrison's super popular over in Boise. I like Cuna. Cuna's got a fun 18-hole course over there. I live super close to West Park, so I was using they got a disc golf app. Dude, they got an app for everything.
Oh my gosh, yes they do.
I was using my disc golf app, and it tells me how many times I've played that course.
Yeah.
And just recording my score, I've done over 70 times at just that course. I know that's not necessarily the most that anybody's done, but there's people that play way more than me. But I'm like, man, I've played this course a lot and everything.
Are you backhand or forehand?
Actually, I can do both. So, my backhand, my max I've gone was like, it was either 402 or 420. I don't remember what I got, but I could do that. My forehand, I don't do it a whole ton, but I could if I need to. Like the other day, I parked, I think it was like a 280 foot throw. And that was a forehand, so that was a pretty good shot. But I was like, I haven't played it in a couple weeks because I've been playing pickleball, dude. You told me the other day you play pickleball too, or you're getting into it as well.
I try my best. I can't keep up with some of these professionals out there. So, but it's a lot of fun, man. It is. I think I told you when we were having coffee, like it is the sport that is for anybody at any level, and I love it. Like you usually can't just go play football with people, right? Like it's hard, but pickleball is like you pick up a paddle and you can have a bunch of beginners out there, and or you can go to flying pickle and play a bunch of semi-pro guys. It's crazy, but it's a lot of fun and it keeps me active. So
I haven't been to the flying pickle yet. I've had people try to convince me to go play with them, but I'm like, got all the outdoor courses and so I just plus I just like the sunshine. Be outside. But
now I will say I was a little apprehensive at first, paying money to go play at a court when I could go play for free. But I will say it was pretty cool. It was a cool experience getting to go. Free advertisement for flying pickle, but it was a cool environment. Like it was just they had a little. I don't know. Have you been to flying pickle? So they had like
even driven by
they had a little like mini restaurant bar area in there, and like a whole little merch area where you can buy a paddle if you need like a $300 paddle. You can buy one of those and. But it was just really cool, like cool environment. Nice when it's like 18 degrees outside and snowing. But,
that'll be nice for the winter time for sure.
But I'm with you. I love being outside in the sunshine. So anytime I can grab a paddle and go play, I'm always down.
What else do you like to do around here?
Oh man, I mentioned already, but being in the mountains. So I grew up in California, but I grew up on the Central Coast, so lots of ocean stuff to do. But I had a cabin. My grandparents had a cabin that we'd go up to all the time growing up in the Sierra Nevadas. And so getting to live here where it's a lot closer, getting up to pop up there all the time and, take my kids up there, it's just been super cool. And then I lived in Florida for a little while too. So talk about no mountains at all. So I'm impartial to just being up there in the forest. Boise National Forest is beautiful. But right now, my whole world is being a dad, I feel like.
How many kids you got again?
I got 2 kids. I got a 2-year-old named Denver and a 8-month-old named Ezra. So we got our hands full. Yeah, they're little awesome kids. They're crazy kids. 2 under 2 is no joke. I know you and your wife are expecting 2.
Next month, so end of July is when our baby's due. But we'll see if she comes early or comes late.
You never know. So, but it's exciting, man. I've wanted to be a dad my entire life, and getting to be a dad to those 2 boys has just been super fun. So roughhousing and playing and teaching them things. It's like I love graphic design. I love what I've gotten to do with that in my career. I did music for a long time in church, so I've loved that. I've been passionate about that. I love being a husband, but there's just something special about having 2 boys and getting able to raise them. So.
See, this is a business podcast, obviously, but it's like the whole reason we start businesses or do businesses so that way we can spend time with family and friends and do the things that really matter. Because when we die, nobody's going to really care that I saw health insurance or that you're graphic designer.
They're not going to remember for the graphic I made for their company. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, that's the guy. No.
Exactly.
My legacy will be through my family and my kids. And so my wife and them are my number one. And getting to start my own business has, obviously there's the pressure of trying to provide for your family, but being able to be around more than working, I loved my time working for church and ministry and, other jobs that I've had in the past. They've had a lot of great things about them. But being away from my family for an expected amount of time is hard. But being able to be flexible and, you know, pop downstairs and hang out with them and, you know, make impromptu trips up to the mountains for a few days and work up there. You know, it's just been really, really healthy and great for our family just to reconnect and kind of rejuvenate just the direction we're headed. So
that's what I love about like just having my own business too. It's like if I just feel like I'm overwhelmed or stressed or whatever and just want to take a break, like go play some disc golf, play some pickleball, and just walk my dog, do whatever. That's the beauty of having your own business and everything is. But then at the same time you have the stress of like, shoot, I got to provide for my family, things like that. Is your wife working or is it just you?
No, she is. She's stay at home, which is the hardest job I think there is. Stay at home mom, and I've gotten to see a lot of it too, working from home, of just what she has to deal with on the daily. But she was a paralegal for a long time. She was actually in the Army, which surprises a lot of people.
Oh, cool.
So she was there for a few years doing paralegal stuff. Actually went overseas, I think to Afghanistan.
Oh, dang.
I might not be quoted right on that. I'm pretty sure that's where it was. So she got to spend, 8-9 months out there. And it's always funny when people find that out about her because she's the sweetest, most peaceful, like non-aggressive person. You would never guess that, she was, in the Army, and, but she always jokes around it was a lifetime ago, a different time of her life because, she, I think right out of college went in and spent a few years there and then moved back to Michigan where she's from. So, but yeah, she's the best mom that I know and does a lot of hard work at home.
So she's from Michigan. You're from California. How'd you guys meet?
So when I moved to Florida, I worked at a church out there for a little while. And she had moved down to Florida as well. She had a couple family members that lived down there and vacationed down there. And so she wanted to kind of get away from the cold in Michigan and move down to Florida. I'd lived there for a few years. And she was actually at the church that I worked at. And so met me through that. And we joke about it all the time. She actually Facebook messaged me before I even moved out there. Trying to like get ahead of the game for everybody else before I could even move out there. So, and it was funny. I got a Facebook message from a Gina May, and she was like, "Hey, heard you're moving to Florida," and I was like, "Who are you?" And I knew who she was. I
played dumb.
Yeah, I played dumb. I was like, "Do I know you?" And long story short, ended up connecting and getting married, and then our pastor ended up moving here to start a church and invited us to come with him. So that's how we're here. But
there you go.
Yeah.
How long y'all been married for?
It'll be 5 years this July.
Okay.
Yep.
That's exciting. You got a couple more years than me. We just hit our 2-year back in March.
Oh, cool.
So
yeah.
But man, I love being married to my wife. She's my favorite wife. Is what I tell her.
You're my favorite wife.
I tell that to my in-laws too. I'm like, I call mom and dad still, even though they're my in-laws. I'm like, Mom, you're my favorite mother-in-law. Or I tell that to my dad. I always tell my parents too not always, but I'll call my biological mom and everything. I'll call her and say, "Hey, it's your favorite son," and I've got her to agree a couple of times, and so I hold it to her, and I make sure to tell my siblings like I got titled the favorite kid. So
that's awesome. Love it.
So what made you want to start up your business and everything? Like, did you go to school for it, or?
So I did partially. When I went into college, I was one of those kids that had no idea what they wanted to do, and I felt like I had a handful of skill sets and some raw talent in some areas that made no money. I could sing and play guitar, but the chances of me becoming the next Justin Bieber was zero. So to do that professionally seemed very far-fetched. I was always an artistic kid. I played sports. I did basketball, but that wasn't going to, play out in college at all. I'm too short. So I kind of spent my first 2 or 3 years of college just trying everything out. I did everything under the sun from, poli-sci, what's the math, all the math stuff for CPAs and all that. Yeah. Accounting. That's the word I'm looking for. Tried accounting. I even took a marine biology class. Like I was just whatever I could find,
just to see what jived with you.
Yep. And so while I was doing that, I was taking a bunch of graphic design courses with a friend of mine, and because I knew I liked graphic design, but it was kind of at that point where graphic design really wasn't like this huge, leading industry that people like knew they needed yet. I mean, it was there, but it wasn't like there was tons of jobs. And so I just wasn't sure. And at the same time, while I was doing that, I was interning at a church doing some music stuff, and they ended up offering me a full-time job. And so I kind of, right at the point where I had the choice to like transfer and, do the actual full-on bachelor degree in a specific area, or I could just do church ministry. And so I decided to kind of compromise and do a little both. So I took the full-time job. I switched over to online school, which meant I dropped all my graphic classes and went ahead and just got a business and leadership degree, which has been cool. I mean, it was a great experience doing that. I recommend online school because you can gain experience in your field while still doing school. It's on a whole nother level of getting you ahead of the game. But I took a ton of those graphic design classes, and I knew I was passionate about it. And what was ironic was, as I was doing church ministry, I'd get hired on to do the music for a church. And when you're in the church world, it's like, if they know you're good at something, you're going to get utilized, because it's all about your giftings.
Yeah.
And so it was very quick that I'd create a graphic for somebody and that I worked with, and they're like, hey, you're pretty good at that. Like, you want to do more? And so I would always become the creative guy, whether it was videography or music, production, graphic design. So graphic design has always been a big piece of what I've done. And usually, like, the thing I've been most passionate about is being able to design stuff. And I've taken the most pride in that, those times where I've created something for somebody.
Yeah.
And so it was just a season. I'd been doing worship ministry for 17 years. And just was like, okay, I want to try something new. I'm ready to do something different. It was just, like I said, a good move for my family to do something where I could be a little bit more present at home. And I knew from my experience doing graphic design and my experience in the church world that there's a huge need for it, just for people that have that capability. And they have Canva and they have all sorts of programs now that are very easy to do, but to have somebody that is a designer that knows how to make something aesthetically look good was a huge hole. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to start my own thing. And if it takes off, it takes off, and it's just going to be a fun new adventure. So.
Yeah. So here in like the Treasure Valley, I feel like I met a lot of people that are pretty religious. Are you a pretty religious dude, or was church ministry just was it just a job for you?
No, I mean, I grew up in church, so religion, Christianity has always been super important to me. My family, just our faith, and I know that one of the things that I've been able to do is leaving the church world, being able to just be in the secular world, has been awesome. Just to be able to interact and get to know people outside of the industry that I worked in for so long.
Yeah.
Because typically it almost feels like sometimes you have church people and then non-church people, and always being in that church world with those church people, those are the people I had friendships or relationships with. And so it's been really awesome just getting to know people on a different level with a different, similarities. I've been doing BNI, checking out some different.
You gonna join our chapter?
I'm working on it. Yes, that's the plan.
I'm in the Caldwell chapter, so.
Yeah, Caldwell 2C, right? 2C grind set.
2C grind set.
Yep.
Thursday, 7 a.m. Over at Homes of Idaho, next to Indian Creek Steakhouse in Caldwell. So come check us out.
Be there, be square.
Exactly.
So it's just been cool, like to get not that people in BNI, for example, don't go to church, but to relate to somebody on a different level than you just showed up at church on Sunday, or you're joining my volunteer team. Like there's a different connection there where it's like BNI. It's like we're all small business owners or business owners. Or we're managing our own thing. And so to be able to connect with people on that basis has been just really fun and different. Like I said, 17 years is a long time to be in that world. and I still love it. We still go to church on Sundays, but getting to just explore something entirely different has been really refreshing and nice. So.
Okay, what church do you guys go to?
We still go to Refresh, yeah.
Oh, Refresh over in Meridian, you said?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So they great people there. We love the people there, and but it's just been fun to do something else Monday through Friday.
Yeah. So what's your typical day like as? Because you're working for yourself now and everything. What's your typical day look like?
Yeah. So I have found that with kids, and you'll learn this real fast, you become a morning person, whether you like it or not. Because
I was a morning person, then I married my wife. She's not a morning person, so she got me to sleep in and things like that. And, but now we're probably
everything's gonna change. Yep. So I have become now a morning person. And so my wife and I, we try and do everything off of routine because kids love routine. And it was nice for a season, being married without kids, of being able to not have routine and being able to be spontaneous and do whatever we want to do. But I found that for myself, routine is huge. The days I finish feeling more successful are always the days that I have stuck to my routine. And so what we do is she'll wake up, she goes on a walk, 6 a.m. She comes back. Then I go on a walk for a little bit, just to get going, get outside, get energized. And then usually 8 a.m. I'm rolling. I joke around with her because starting a business, you have low funds. So I got the tiniest desk in the world. I actually took her desk that she was using. Very small desk with 3 huge monitors on it. And so it's like my mega desk. And I get going on that 8 a.m. and usually I'll spend some time just with the admin side of things, trying to in the artistic world, the design world. It can be really easy to just be like, I'm a creative, man. I don't do all that admin stuff. But I try and make it a priority because I don't want to get behind, because it can be very easy as a creative to do that. And so I'll spend an hour or so catching up on emails, checking my appointments, my calendar for the week. And then I just jump into design, whatever projects I have in my queue, I'll just start plugging away. And I use a lot of different softwares, or I've tried a lot of different softwares, like Monday and Asana. And a buddy of mine, graphic designer up in Spokane, just shot me over, I think it's called Holobrief. It's a design. It's a software online that's created for designers just to be able to track their projects and their clients and all that. So I'm checking that out. I'm just at the stage now where I'm like trying everything I can. Still newer at this whole owning a business thing, and so I'm not married to anything other than my wife, and just trying out as much as I can in different processes, and it's a lot of fun. So.
If you guys want to see some of his work, the logo for the podcast, Treasure Valley Business Podcast, he made the logo. So if you want to see some good work of his, just go look at the logo and check it out.
Treasure Valley Business Podcast. Let's go.
So do you have kind of along the lines of like your typical day, like do you have like a schedule, like you start at 8 a.m. Are you like dead stop at 5 p.m. or what's your hours usually like?
It depends on the day, honestly. And that's what's nice about, owning your own business is, you clock out when you clock out. I usually prefer to work till 5. I feel like my time I feel most accomplished when I'm most efficient in my time.
Yeah.
So when I work a full day, obviously you get more done. But there are days where, the load is a little lighter and you clock out at 3 and you get to go to the park with your family.
Yeah.
So it just all depends. And you also, I don't know if you feel like this as well, but I mean, I feel like sometimes we don't have hours as business owners. Like we work when we get the call,
Mm-hmm.
And so there's been times where, a client of mine who lives in Florida calls me at, 9 a.m. his time, but it's 7 a.m. my time,
Exactly.
And I'm picking up the phone because I want to, make sure I'm honoring his time as a client. And I'm sure there's been other times where it's 8 o'clock at night, and I'm contacting somebody, and but that's part of the gig, and you do what you can to help people. That's kind of always been my mindset, and my goal is I just want to be able to help other business owners, other church people, pastors, ministry people, nonprofit owners. I just want to help them, and take something off their plate, help them get their company's branding and logos and identity where they want it to be. So
kind of along the same lines again, how do you balance work life and personal life?
Always learning, always trying to learn. I think that there are definitely times where, I'm being told, hey, put the phone down for a few minutes. And whether that's a work-related call or a work-related text or, playing some Madden on my phone, regardless of what it is, there are definitely times where I feel like you have to turn off work mode and turn on family mode or home mode or hobby mode. And to me, one thing that I hear people talk about all the time is wearing different hats. And I don't really believe that. I get that there are moments in the day where literally I'm working on something, for my business, and there's other times where I'm being a dad. I understand that idea of hats, but for me, it's like who I am is who you get, and I'm going to be the same person I am at home that I would be with a client. I feel like I'm a pretty relational, funny, lighthearted, goofy guy with my kids, as a dad and as a husband. I'm going to be the same way as, with my clients. So that makes it a little easier for me to not have to turn it on and off, per se. And that's what's nice in at least the graphic design industry is it's all over the phone. It's not like I got to show up to a business or, my workplace. And so I try and just keep things as smooth as possible. Who I am at work is who I am at home and vice versa. And, the hardest part I think for me has been just being able to stop working, not necessarily turn off a persona or, the way I'm talking to somebody, but just being able to turn off actually doing tasks.
Yeah.
Because it never ends. And so what we do as a family is, there are certain days of the week that are off limits for work, and that's for us Saturday and Sunday right now. It might change in the future, but Saturday and Sunday, it's I'm not going to open my computer. I'm not going to, jump upstairs and get something done. I have my phone on me, obviously, if there's a time that a client calls or needs something, but those are pretty few and far between because most people aren't working Saturday and Sundays.
Yeah.
So I try and make sure that that's just clean cut, where that's family time, that's hobby time, that's my time, to be able to balance that and make sure that my kids are being, fathered and that I'm present, that my wife feels like I'm relationally present. And then also just for myself, I feel like so many times that is the last thing that is prioritized, and I don't know if you feel that way too, but as a business owner, there's so much to do. As a husband, there's so much to do. And as a father, there's so much to do. But making sure I have time to breathe on my own is always important too, even though it's sometimes few and far between. But
so how do you deal with the stress of work and personal life? For me, I love to work out, lift weights.
Yeah.
I'll do that if I'm super stressed. I think it's a good way for me to blow some good steam. But weightlifting or I'll go play some disc golf or pickleball or something like that. How do you cope with the stress of everyday life and work?
Yeah. Similar. I like walking. So I do a lot of walks just to clear my head and reset. I'm a big sports guy, very, very competitive. So I got to scratch that itch. And a lot of times I feel like as a father, you can't really be competitive with a 2-year-old, and you should never be competitive with your spouse because you'll always lose. No matter if you win, right? You always lose. So I do a lot of rec softball and basketball and just getting outside and being able to compete and turn on something different in my brain to take my mind off of finances or the business tasks that I got to get done the next day, and or just do fun stuff like this. I'm a relational person. I like building relationships with people.
Yeah.
And so doing stuff like B&I, doing stuff like this with you on a podcast, just getting out of the office and stop staring at a computer screen for a minute is just it's nice, getting able to put the stress on the back burner and not put it, at the forefront of my mind just by keeping my mind busy with other things. So
love it, dude.
yeah,
I want to transition into talking about your business
yeah.
and everything and what you do. So what do you offer your clients? If someone calls Pixel Launch. Is it
Yeah.
pixellaunch.com? Is that
Yep.
your website?
Yep.
So someone comes in, they want to contact you, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you usually offer your clients?
Yeah, so it's kind of threefold. And I did it that way just because I wasn't sure. Like I said, I want to be able to help people where they're at. And so it's threefold. The first is through launch packs. I know that my passion as a graphic designer kind of lies in the logos and the branding and getting to help people get their footing with that, and create just their visual identity. And so the launch pack was kind of the initial thought of Pixel Launch, hence the name Pixel Launch Pack. And basically, those are just different packages that if you're starting off your company, you're starting off a church, or you're starting off a nonprofit, whatever you're doing, it's basically different packages that have all your branding combined. So your logos, different text, fonts, color schemes, all that. And it's always something. It's funny because a lot of times people don't think, oh, it's not a priority for me. I got to get all these other things done in my, to get off the ground. And that's so true. As someone who just started a company, I know, like, I get it. There's a million boxes you got to check. But that branding is so crucial to do a lot of those other boxes. Like when you build a website, you need your colors and your logos and your, all of that to put into that. And so that was the first step that I created with it. The second piece that I knew, especially working in the church world, was a constant need for digital content, creative content. And, whether you're on social media or Facebook, you're marketing, doing different ads, like the constant need to put out creative content is becoming more and more and more of a need as the online presence grows for other companies. Because if you move to a new state, right, or a new city, and you go into a house, you buy a house, and you need some flooring done, right? Nobody there. You're looking somebody up online. Your digital footprint is what's going to sell your company or not. Your branding is what's going to sell your company or not. So being able to consistently put stuff out there kind of led me to create this subscription service idea with unlimited graphics for the month. And there's a couple different plans that I offer with different features, but the gist of it is you'll never run out of creative content to post, creative content to use for ads, creative content for your website. And it can pretty much be anything you dream of, anything you think of. We'll design it. We just need to know your dimensions. So that has been helpful for a couple of different clients. And then lastly, just the freelance stuff, because sometimes you just get somebody that I just need one thing. That's it. I don't need to be sold a subscription service. I don't need to be, it's like when I'm trying to watch a movie and I don't want to buy the Netflix subscription. I just want to buy the $3.99 movie for real quick to watch. So I do that as well, just for people who aren't sure what they really need or want, just kind of like one-off stuff.
Yeah. So what sets your business apart from all the other graphic designers out there? Because I have a friend that he just graduated, got a degree in graphic design and everything. Yeah. He doesn't have his own company yet, but I know there's a lot of graphic designers out there. What sets you apart?
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen The Office. I know a lot of people have seen The Office.
Yeah, actually, my wife and I just started watching it. We're on season 2.
Yeah, it is my jam. It is my favorite show. I've seen it like 15 times. But the premise of this little tiny paper company that's competing with Staples, and like these big, huge franchise stores. And one of the things that I've found, especially when it comes to the subscription service, is maybe you don't know who your designer is. Maybe you don't know. You're just sending in a project and they're just pumping it out, and there's no relationship. There's no rapport there. There's not somebody that understands and knows your business inside and out and your vision and your dreams. And so for me, I am the designer. Like, I want to be able to sit down and get to know you as a person, you as a business owner, what your business is about, because so much of design is about knowing the identity and the goals of the person you're designing for. and there's nothing wrong with, the quick turnaround. You a company that has a bunch of designers, they're doing really good things, I'm sure. But being able to send a personal text like, hey, I need this done. Can we sit down and do a 15-minute phone call? And it's like, yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
So the relational side, the personable side, I think is an advantage I have, especially in this area, because I've been focusing a lot trying to build a client base here and relationships with people here. Not necessarily global or nationally yet, but just being able to, hey, I'm Andrew, this is who's designing for you.
Yeah.
And my goal is to know you, like actually get to know you, and make sure the designs speak who you are, and get where you need to go. So
I know you're pretty early on in the business. Do you, like right now you're just one man show?
Yeah.
Everything. What's the goal? Do you, down the road, maybe like next 5-10 years, whatever, do you plan to have a team of people underneath you? Is that the goal, or what's your goal what's the big picture with the company?
Yeah. I feel like the way I've set it up is for both options. Obviously, with subscription services and launch packs and like all the things that I'm offering, the sustainability of it is a big question mark for me. Like how much can I handle on my own without running myself dry? And but the goal of it is to, whether it's me or another designer, if I hire 5 designers down the road, that designer, the whole mission of I know you and I know your company and there's trust there, should stay the same.
Yeah.
And that's always the goal, is if there's somebody that becomes a Pixel Launch client and they have their own personal designer, that designer doesn't change. Like they're going to be able to build rapport with them, get to know them, and almost as if they're working for the company.
Yeah.
It's themselves. And so I would love to grow as a company and love to bring on different friends that I have that are graphic designers that I trust to handle different clients. But like I said, that goal will always be there as the number one priority of there's a relational piece of what we do. It's not just, you're not just cattle that are coming in. I'm not saying that's what other companies do or their mindset, but it's not as mass produced as, just having somebody who you can call up and, you have that person-to-person experience.
Yeah. So how are you marketing your company right now?
Yeah.
Is it just through networking, like BNI and things like that, or are you cold calling? Or, what are you doing?
So a little bit of everything, just to figure out what works. I'm not a marketing master at all, but I feel like the most traction I have gotten is just through different relationships I've had, word of mouth, meeting people in person, BNI, that kind of thing. And not to say I haven't gotten any traction. A buddy of mine told me, hey, you need to be sending 100 emails, messages a day, just, contacting people, getting your name out there, offering your service. And so I've been doing a little bit of that. I've been doing a little bit of kind of cold calls, showing up at businesses with a flyer and a business card, like, hey, I'm Andrew. Just anything I can, just to get a foothold, Another big thing for me has been just using Meta advertising, Google advertising. I haven't been spending a ton of investment in that, but just a little bit here and there. You never know if one person, is going to be one lead is going to become a client.
Yeah.
And so I think, for example, I sent probably 1,000 messages and I got one person that became a client. But that one person became a valuable client to me, a great start to the company. And so it's worth it to me to just continue to put yourself out there as much as you can, go to as many networking meetings as you can, meet as many people as you can. You mentioned me the other day, like, what'd you say, 100 clients in 90 days, or 100 meetings.
100 101s.
101s.
90 days.
Yep, with networking, right? Yeah. And so it's like, those are the kind of goals and things that it can get tedious and it can get, almost monotonous sometimes, of like, oh man, I got to send those messages or I got to meet those people. But it's so worth it when you're getting off the ground. And just the more that you do for people, even if it's just one person, I believe that more dominoes will fall, because you build rapport with one person, you build trust with one person, and then they're going to go around and tell a couple of their friends, like, hey, if you need somebody, I got a guy, and that's been like I said, the most traction has been through just building relationships with people, networking in my area. So
going back to, you're talking about like sending DMs and emails and things like that. When we got coffee the other day, I told you about the email software stuff that I'm doing. Did you ever sign up for it?
I did not yet, because I've been out of town, but I plan on it, because being able to just not think about it and send it out to thousands of people in your area, super valuable.
Yeah.
So
I've been working on getting it set up.
Yeah.
And the way I have it set up is I have like now 70 emails, like 70 different email accounts that I can send like 50 emails from a day. So if you do the math, 50 times 50 is 2,500.
Yeah.
And so if I got 70 at
3,500, right? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. It's like I could send out like almost 3,500 different emails a day to business owners. So that's one thing I'm going to do, because I want to get in. I do a lot of individual and family health insurance. I have some groups that I'm working with, like small businesses. And so I want to get more into doing the business side of health insurance. But I'm like, networking is great and everything. Like, I've really enjoyed it. Like, I love doing this podcast. I love doing all the one-on-ones, things like that. But especially if you're trying to grow, it's like, why not use technology to your advantage? Because while I'm doing one-on-ones, I can have 70 emails, sending out 50 a day. I can pretty much talk to 3,500 different businesses in one day, rather than just doing 5 in a day or 3 in a day, or however many one-on-ones I'm doing in a day.
Well, and marketing can be so dangerous when it comes to the expense of it, because a lot of times, a great example is this, just, a raw example. I've spent probably $300 this last month or so in meta ads, and I haven't gotten a single client from it. And I'm not saying that it's not, doing what it should, or but where you put your money in marketing, it can be so hard to evaluate whether or not that worked. And so the most, what I would recommend is do the most you can in the free stuff, or the low cost stuff, right? Like, I know you mentioned like the email thing is super low cost, right? Or lower cost than a lot of ways you could go. Meeting with people, very low cost of a coffee, right? Like, so if you're doing as much as you can with the lower cost, the free ways to market and advertise, because, if you have limited revenue coming in, it's very hard to like judge, okay, I have this much money, X amount of money, I need to spend this much money in marketing and advertising, but where do I put it? That was always a big problem in the church world too. It's like, you had radio advertising, you had Facebook and Google advertising, you had mailers that you can send out, we had the emails option. So it was like, but it was very difficult to track, like, okay, where did you come from when they showed up to church? And so I feel like it's the same thing with my business. It's like, sure, I got a lead from my web platform, but did they come from Facebook? Did they come from word of mouth? Like, it's very hard to judge sometimes. And so it can be dangerous and sticky, like where you're putting investment into. So that's where I've been like very cautious. Like, all right, how do I advertise in a way that's cost efficient? And
especially at the start. But if you're someone like Apple or Coca-Cola or whatever, it's like they'd make $100,000 in like 2 seconds. Or whatever. You could spend $100,000 on ads, no problem. So do you have a niche that you focus on? Like, do you focus on mainly just churches, or are you just taking everybody you can right now?
A little bit of both. I mean, I'm not going to turn down a potential client, but my go-to, like the people I'm trying to connect with the most, are the people that are a little bit on the fresher end of getting things rolling. Whether it's a church or small business. Small business owners have been, I think, the most fruitful interaction I've had. Number one, just getting to meet with like-minded people, but also they, unlike Apple and some of these huge like Amazon, right? These huge companies, Starbucks, they really don't need my help. They already have people that work for them. But it's the small business owners that are grinding, that are like, they got their list of things that they got to do, and money, they got to make decisions on where they're investing, and they're, very tight budgeted. Those are the people that I'm like, I feel like I can help a lot, because I'm just one getting started off too.
Yeah.
But on another hand, like, I feel like what I can offer is going to help them leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
And so being able to, I'm working with a guy right now, potentially. I've been meeting with him off and on regarding his company, and he doesn't have a website. He doesn't have any social media. He doesn't have, he has a logo, but that's about it. And so being able to help design for him is going to change, I believe, his world, because he told me that there are so many people that he's worked with that are like, how come you don't have a website? Like, how come you don't have any digital footprint? And so those are the kind of little things that, as a business owner, you got so much going on that are hard to think about. The creativity of your company. That I feel like I can step in and help a ton with.
Yeah. So with insurance is super regulated.
Yeah.
All the laws, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Laws are changing all the time.
Yeah.
Graphic design, it's a little bit more lenient. You can do almost whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any like legal issues? Like, do you help companies get like trademarks and things like that too for their logos?
Yeah.
Can you help out with that, or?
Yeah, I certainly can. This is where it gets tricky in the world of any kind of art, because you have copyright issues. That's the number one thing.
That's the word I was thinking of too.
Yep. And so there are, as a designer, I just saw this thing on Facebook the other day. It's a really cool company, a neon sign company. They basically customize whatever sign you want. And they had one that looked just like an NBA team, their logo. And I went on the comment section, because I'm like, other people had to have noticed this. And so many people commented like, oh, that looks just like that team. And to say, like, even if something looks similar, you can get in a lot of trouble.
Really?
It's crazy. It's like music, the same kind of thing where, so many songs sound like so many other songs, and then you can get into legal disputes on, did you steal my work? And it's the same thing in design. And so for me, I've kind of put some, invested in some, what's the word I want to use? Not softwares, but just some safeguards for my company, where I have subscription services to just different other companies that provide different forms of art for whatever I'm paying for. I'm paying for the license to use them. And so for companies that are working with me, that's the thing that can be kind of scary working with a graphic designer, is you don't know necessarily where they're getting their stuff from, and are you going to be liable as a company if your logo looks like another logo from another company? It's like, that's where for me, like, I'm not using Google Images. I'm not like searching, hey, give me a picture of I created this logo the other day for like a surf shop I made up just to kind of get my portfolio going. But I didn't go on Google and look up, give me a California bear. I went to this website that I have a subscription from that I pay for the licensing. So I can utilize and manipulate that art to be whatever I need it for the company. And then you can go into trademarking the logo, and there's all sorts of ways you can do that. I've heard of crazy things like you can even take a picture of it and mail it to yourself, or like same thing with music. Like, you can type up the lyrics, put a date on it, and mail it to yourself, and don't open it, and then it's copyrighted. Like, copyright laws are not my expertise at all, but at least getting the company, a client or a company I'm working for, like, you're safe. You're not going to get sued by somebody else for looking too similar.
Yeah.
So
okay. No, that's good, dude. I wanna hear your sales pitch now. Like, tell us, like, how much do you charge for your subscriptions, or your services and things like that? What are some of the benefits that you offer? Things like that.
Well, I'll start off by saying this. One thing I heard one time at a conference was, you have to figure out a way to be uniquely better than everybody else in your industry, in your area. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that. You can do that through a service you provide or a product you provide that's going to be unique and different and put you over the top of everybody else around you.
Yeah.
For me, in the graphics and branding world, that becomes the easiest way to become uniquely better. Because if you're being looked up on the web or social media, and you're comparing two different companies, the first impression you have with a potential client or potential customer is your branding, is your logo, is your aesthetics of your site. And so for Pixel Launch, the services we offer, I think, are what are going to help with that first impression of making you uniquely better, and just giving you a different edge. You don't want to look like everybody else around you. You want to look like you. You want to have your identity. And so for our launch packs, they start at $4.99. Super simple. Like I've had a lot of different experiences with graphic designers where like their branding guides are like very, very long and confusing. And for a smaller company or a medium-sized company or a church, it's like, I don't understand what any of this design lingo means. So I try and keep it very easy to understand. And that $4.99 comes with a lot of the personal stuff too. So you get to work with me, you get to have a discovery call with me. And then they go up from there. We have a package for $9.99. Comes with different features like unlimited storage, unlimited redesigns, and then also discounts on the subscriptions. So moving over to that side, our subscriptions start at $5.99 a month. Comes with unlimited graphics for the month. You get a trying to think through. There's so many packages that I have, but with the subscription service, unlimited graphics, unlimited revisions. You get your personal designer. You get a discovery call as well, just so we get to know you. And then we have another package that is $8.99 a month, where you get a call every month with your designer, and just all sorts of different little features and perks. So, and then lastly, the freelance stuff is just get a quote. It's free. You just send us in what you're wanting to do, and we will let you know how much it'll cost. But I try and keep things very low, competitive pricing with everybody. Like I said, my goal is to help you. That's it. Yeah. So however I can do that, I'm game. So
do you guys offer any special discounts or I know you said on the subscription, but anything for first time clients will give you 25% off or something like that. Do you guys do anything similar? Or?
Yep. So right now for our subscription service, the first month is free. So it's month to month. So it's not going to cost you anything to cancel.
No contracts?
No contracts. It's like, hey, we have a basic contract of hey, here's how the subscription works. But it's not like you got to sign on for 2 years.
There's no cancellation
fee. No cancellation fee. It's very, very client positive, because I'm like, I just want them to be comfortable and to gain that rapport with me.
Yeah.
So that first month is free, and then you can cancel if you don't want to do it anymore, if I'm not your guy or if I'm not designing the way you would like it. With our launch packs too, my goal is to help funnel people through that, so where I get them started, launched, and then become their personal designer, because I want to be able to work with you, because if I help create your brand, I know your brand. So I'm doing a 5% off with one of our middle package for the launch packs, a 5% off for your subscription service. So I'm not sure the math on that, but it's a discount nonetheless to be able to continue to work with me, or me work with you. So
okay. Do y'all have any sort of guarantees or warranties or anything like that?
Yeah, I think our unlimited revisions are huge. Like being able to, if you get a design, your satisfaction is what matters the most, right? If I might, as a creative, like something I designed for you and think it looks great, but if you get it and you're like, I'd like to change that, or maybe can we move this around? It's like, as many times as you need, we'll revise it.
Yeah.
So we'll get it to the point where you're happy with it, where it becomes your, for example, your logo. It's like, this is my dream. This is what I've been wanting for my company. And so that's kind of our commitment to our client, or my clients, is I'm going to work with you until you get your stamp of approval on it.
Yeah.
So
how do you how do you guys handle if you guys do have a customer complaint or issue?
Yeah.
How would you handle that?
Yeah. Well, obviously for me, making sure that they understand that I'm for them, um, and wanting to make sure that they are satisfied is the number one. I think a lot of times, like when I've interacted with companies and had a poor experience, it's like they doesn't really feel like they care.
Yeah.
And so whatever I typically try and do whatever I can to make it right. The reality is it's very hard to balance sometimes, and you might feel this way too in your industry, like where you have to make money and support your family, and so there's certain things that you have to do to like make that happen, work you have to do. But at the same time, like my work revolves around my customers, right?
Yeah.
And their happiness. And so the way I have it set up is 50% up front, 50% on the back end, so that way it helps protect me as a business owner to like be able to make sure I'm putting food on the table. But at the same time too, it's like, no, you're not going to be expected to pay until you're happy with it, the second half of that. So, and being able to just, I think the number one thing is just being able to be apologetic to people. Like, it doesn't matter if you think you're right or you think you didn't do anything wrong. It's like, I'm sorry, like, I'm sorry I didn't understand what you were thinking in your vision for your logo or your website or whatever it is, and so many people, like, if you just start off on that foot, I think it sets the tone for the rest of that interaction or, the way that you have a relationship with that client.
Yeah.
Because, just being able to say sorry is huge,
Yeah.
And I think that swallowing pride is a thing that business owners, have to do sometimes because it's not about me, it's about them.
Yeah.
So,
who is your guys' ideal client? Like, who do you want to work with right now? Who are you looking to work for?
Yeah.
How many more clients can you bring on?
Yeah. I feel like right now I can manage quite a few subscription services. I have a couple people that are, I'm onboarding on that front, but being able to manage probably 10 to 15 of those personally. So anybody who's a small business owner, a church, that doesn't have any graphic designer on staff, basically pretty much any company that doesn't have a graphic designer on staff, if they're outsourcing their designs to somebody else, that's somebody who I feel like I could work for and help out. So, and like I said, there's kind of a lot of different options. All those options are customizable too. So anybody who needs graphic design work, I can help. But the favorite clients that I've had are the people that are getting started off the ground. They're in the grind just like I am, and we can kind of team up and collaborate on their vision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. We like it. Last question. This has nothing to do with people buying from you, but what's a favorite quote that you have?
Favorite quote? Oh my goodness. Man, I did not expect this question. I'm trying to think of a good quote.
I forgot to tell you before.
We can edit this part out. Man.
Something that just inspires you, or
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna get real cliche with it.
Go for it.
Just Nike. Just do it. Like that is a lot of times what I say to myself as a business owner. Just do it.
Yeah.
Like I'm tired. I've been working hard. I'm exhausted. I don't want to have to do this today. Just do it.
Yeah.
So very cliche, but
hey, that's what we gotta do sometimes. You just gotta do it.
Yep.
Pull up your pants and just go for it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, what's the best way someone can get a hold of you if they want help with their graphic design work and logos and things like that? What's the best way to get a hold of you? Yep.
My website is the number one, PXL Launch. I got creative with it. Pixel is PXL. So pxllaunch.com. It's got all the information there. It's got all ways to contact me too, just my direct phone. Social media, at PXL Launch for Facebook, at PXL Launch for Instagram. My phone number is 208-852-8020. So great way to contact me that way as well. I'm pretty much everywhere you can get online. So just look up PXL Launch and I'll be there.
Perfect.
Yep.
Well, dude, thanks for coming on the podcast and It's been tons of fun.
Yeah.
Get to know you over the past month and everything, and
Yeah,
do a little bit of work with you for the logo and everything. So I've enjoyed it. So yeah, if anybody needs any help with branding or logo or whatever it is, this is your guy.
Yeah. Thanks,
So
man.
don't be afraid to reach out to him.
Yep.
So yeah, thanks for being on, and
Appreciate it.
we'll talk to you guys later. Thank you.
Later.